All right, what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Hi, 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 hi. I'm Jeff. Good to see you. That's Bryan Broaddus, 105.3 The Fan, and everywhere else in the world. The great Bryan Broaddus. Good to see you, Bryan. How you doing?
I'm doing
Are you
well,
doing fine?
Jeffrey.
You doing
Yeah,
fine?
doing fine, man. Doing great.
Are you
Doing
sure
great.
you're doing fine?
I'm doing fine.
All right. Bryan is, of course, a former Cowboy scout and still just scouts anyway, which we love. And so we're going to get ready for Cowboys and Steelers.
Yeah,
And I've been looking at them too. And I got to tell you, Bryan, look, we got problems. Okay. We got problems.
sure.
They're also not that good.
Yeah,
I kind of have some hope about this thing, but
you should.
tough
You should.
without Micah and Tank.
Yeah. You lose 47% of your pressures with those two guys. And, what you want to do is turn this into a game where, you want to make Fields have to throw the football. They've got some quality receivers. Don't get me wrong about that. Their offensive line's kind of a mess right now, and that's maybe where you'll have some backup guys dealing with some backup guys, and that kind of we'll see how the Steelers choose to play this game. Do they get Suamala back in this game? We'll see. But yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. They don't sustain very well. They For a team that has a very high volume of running the football, they really don't get anywhere with it. And so that's some of your hope right there that in watching the Chargers game, watching the Colts game, and just kind of breaking it down with the runs. Like I was saying, okay, how do they run the football? And it's some pin and pull, it's traps, it's let's get in 13 personnel and try and push you around, but their tight ends don't block very well in 13 personnel. So, there's some hope for you right there.
So it's interesting because, as you know, Bryan, because we're besties, and you're my scout draft dad,
Yeah.
and you were kind enough to let me into that world and help me in that world. As you know, I like both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I enjoy the film and I enjoy the data den. I enjoy the number
Yeah.
stuff,
Sure.
and it's the exact same as what you were talking about. Pittsburgh loves 2 and 3 tight ends.
Yeah.
They're not good at it, but
Not
they
good at
love
all.
it. Like,
Yeah, they
they
do.
run it as much as anybody, and then they get 3.8 yards per play if they have 2 or more tight ends on the field. That's going to be the challenge for the Cowboys defense. Is great. I can give you all of these reasons that I think you can stop them, but then you don't have your best players. And
Yeah.
just one more thing about their running game. They also got a Zeke thing going on.
They do.
They don't play their best players.
Yeah.
Najee Harris is their worst running back when you watch them play. Now,
Mhm.
Cordell Patterson got hurt last week. He looks very girthy. He got hefty, but still looks good.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren's hurt too, but Jalen Warren's better than Najee Harris. And they
Yeah.
love to give the ball to Najee Harris. Why?
Yeah, these coaches, Arthur Smith, you look at all the weapons. Arthur Smith was the head coach. Well, he got his start at Tennessee as a coordinator, and the running game and how Tennessee and with Derrick Henry and all that, Tennessee was under Mike Vrabel, very physical running football team. He goes to Atlanta. They draft backs. They have backs. They kind of get their offensive line right. They really don't run the ball all that well. And during his tenure there, they try to run the ball and then they kind of get away from it. But they had a top 10 defense and their offense was horrible, and he gets fired. And now he ends up at Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's been struggling with their coordinator position the last several years as well. But the one thing Mike Tomlin does is he finds ways to win football games. Respect the hell out of him for doing that. But yeah, their offense is, with Arthur Smith, it's just very, very strange how they love to get into 13 personnel, one back, 3 tight ends, and none of the tight ends can block. And that includes, with Washington, from Georgia, who had the bad knee problems and, fell in the draft. A lot of people thought he was one of the better tight ends, but they just don't do it very well. And their offensive line has struggled. They really have. They don't get much movement. They've got a rookie center. They've had it even when they go with heavy personnel, which is kind of the kryptonite for the Cowboys. Anybody that gets in with a fullback and then multiple tight ends seems to just terrify the Dallas Cowboys defense. And, this team has played with the extra blocker. Mason McCormick has been the extra. He's a rookie. He's a guard. He's a tackle. He doesn't block very well, and so they've had some problems with point of attack blocking. It's just not. But the thing with Patterson, I think your assessment about the running backs is absolutely right. The thing with Patterson is that he's the one guy that's not a real running back.
No, but he's the best one.
But they toss him the ball, they hand him the ball, he finds the hole. He's a physical finisher. They tried to run a counter the other day, and usually it's a jab step with the back. You see him jab step and then come back the other way. His jab step was almost like he was stumbling, falling down, and then he gains his balance and then gets about 7 yards on the carry, because he has a feel for how to get to the hole, through the hole, and then make somebody pay for it on the other side of that. So, yeah, it's a team. They're going to try and run. The quarterback has hurt him a little bit too in this, Jeff, because he's given the ball to Harris a couple of times on the read option stuff and should have pulled it. And trust me, they've looked at Dallas's tape. They're going to test Dallas's discipline to play the scheme the right way. We've seen Micah Parsons get paralyzed with scheme. We've seen others just kind of freeze, linebackers freeze, and then all of a sudden the ball's being run. I guarantee you that Fields is going to pull a couple of these runs and just take the ball and try and get as much as he can and go forward from there.
How much do you think it affects the Cowboys' run defense not having Micah and Tank? It's obviously their best pass rush, but the other guys, whether it's obviously Nealon's going to play like every single snap, and whoever else is playing,
Henry,
can those guys hold up as run players?
Yeah, I think if the Steelers do have a little bit of a strength, I think Jones, the tackle, I think they've got some decent tackles. But they struggle in a lot of other positions there. Now, the thing is that the thing with Nealon coming out of Western Michigan was a good run defender. That was something that was a little bit his strength. And he's the one guy that you watch play the technique when he's supposed to crash. He's, crash player. Or when he's supposed to read, he's a read player. They did a really good job against the Giants. And Daniel Jones is not he's a runner, but it's not like dealing with, when you start to talk about, and you love to nerd out on numbers, look at the numbers, what they do with design runs with this guy that in Pittsburgh, very similar. First in the league is Jackson with the Ravens. Whoop, saw that. That was a nightmare. Most design runs for a quarterback, this guy, second most. So they're going to be, but when you look at how you play last week against the Giants, much better crash and fill, or play wide, fill. There was much better connection between the linebacker, safeties, and edges in the game against the Giants. They were able to, they didn't get caught outflanked. And, if your history of war and battles, getting outflanked is a bad thing.
Yeah, you don't
want to get outflanked. Everybody tries to keep the flanks protected.
The last thing you want is a group of mounted horse headed into your rib cage.
There you go. That is it. Yeah, and we've the Dallas Cowboys have felt mounted Clydesdale into their rib cages against the Saints and the Ravens. So
last thing you want, Brian.
Last thing you want. But anyway. You're going to show me a saber. Are you going to lead the charge? Are you going to?
Last thing you want is somebody on horseback with a nice 1.5-hand sword, just with a free run at the side of your neck.
That's you do not want that at all. But anyway, they did a better job against the Giants. Much better job. I'm intimidated now by you carrying this sword like you're leading Pickett's charge.
This sword I bought because. You remember when Adrian Peterson was out of money and they were auctioning off all his things?
That's his?
So, I was bidding on his of this.
Wow.
And I kept bidding and I got up to like $400 and I was like, no, I want Adrian Peterson's bankrupt sword. Yeah. And then they had to pause it because they were selling his MVP trophy and stuff. And he was like, I didn't tell you to sell that. And so the auction got jammed up for a while. And so I just looked up the sword. And so I have the same one as Adrian Peterson. but I got it for like $100 instead of the 500 I was going to pay for his. But it would be cool to have his.
It would be cool to have his, but to your point, yes, being outflanked is a bad situation, especially with a big Adrian Peterson sword in hand. That's
Yes.
you don't want any of that part of that. But
Dakota,
this is yeah,
oh, go ahead.
but this is where the Cowboys got better in the Giants game. They did a better job of controlling the front. And so and it's going to have to be that way in this game. You know, the Steelers have got to prove to me that they could block your front. They've had some struggles blocking fronts. You know, the teams that they played, the Broncos, the Chargers. I'll tell you where they have not been able to get their offensive linemen up on linebackers.
Ooh, we like that.
And that includes tight ends. So to me, this is where this game could very well hinge for Dallas, is that their ability to play the front, and then, you know, see if Overshown, who was outstanding against the Giants, Kendricks, always going to lead your team in tackles. He's always going to be around the ball. Dallas has got to tackle well in this game, but they've got the opportunity, I think, to have some free runners at this running game for the Steelers. And I mean, free runners where the Saints ate you up, you know, the blocks that you had to deal with. And, you know, Ravens ate you up in the blocks. The Giants didn't eat you up in the blocks. You know, the free runners of these linebackers, and the Steelers will give you the same opportunity. This game is going to have to turn in. Can you find a way to make Fields throw the ball? Now, Jeff, as we go forward in this, Steelers throwing the ball, everything's at the sticks. Majority, when you look at how they throw the ball, it's very similar to what Dallas is doing a little bit right now.
Yeah, it sucks. It's a bad plan.
Yeah, it's a bad plan. But
this is short throws.
This is Arthur Smith. This is Arthur Smith. You know, and
a lot of George Pickens take that ball from someone.
George Pickens, if they're going to throw the ball to George Pickens, it's going to be up the field and to the sidelines outside the numbers. So you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for every YOLO ball in the air that's going to George Pickens.
Wouldn't you say that this would? Let me not say wouldn't you say, because that's a leading question, and you can answer however the hell you want. Like, George Pickens is the kind of guy that I want Trayvon Diggs covering. Like, he's not a great separator or a great route runner. He's I will take this football.
Yeah.
And that's
he's a bully.
Yeah, that's the kind of player I want Diggs covering. Yeah, I would love for a ball to be in the air, and let's see what happens between me and you.
Yeah, that's where this thing is going to come down to. It's going to be a lot of hand fighting downfield. It's going to be a lot of battling. It's going to be a lot of pushing. It's going to be, and the official for this week is Sean Hockley, who is Ed Hockley's son. Now, let's remember back when Sean Hockley called a Cowboys-Raiders game on Thanksgiving that ended up with about 75 defensive pass interference calls.
Chill out, Sean. You don't
I know.
prove nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
You're your own man, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hopeful that doesn't happen again. I'm hopeful that back judge and everybody involved in that will keep the flags in their pocket. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But you're right. I will say this, though. I kind of like Calvin Austin. There's a little speedy guy from Memphis.
I like the neat little guys.
Kind of a cute guy. Kind of a cute player.
Sorry,
and
cute? Okay.
Cute the way he plays.
I get what you're saying. Small, quick, evasive.
Kind of cute. You know, when he catches the ball, he's kind of cute. But yeah, this is the things I think that Dallas, if they could turn this into a game where, okay, you will have the better quarterback throwing the ball. Now, can you find a way to protect? I always say this, can you find a way to protect the front? Can you find, you're going to get TJ Watt lined up on Steele 80-90% of this game.
Well, he better be lined up on Steele and Rico, or Steele and Ferg, or we're rolling left.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Now, Herbig on the other side is a big player for them.
Another Scotty man.
Scotty Man's can rush a little bit. Scotty Man has got that kind of figured out, that rushing game. They lose Highsmith in this game. And I will say this, Alex Highsmith is a really good player for them. I mean, if you're trading prisoners for prisoners here, they took your best pass rusher off the field, and that you took one of their best pass rushers. Now, Watt's still their best pass rusher, but Alex Highsmith's a really good player. And, now he's going to be out. Herbig is a good rusher. So, the thing that these teams that I'm watching them and the way they run the ball at these guys, at Watt, they run the ball at Herbig, and it's bodies. Those guys have a hard time dealing with bodies. Just coming at them and fighting it and turning and fighting, and they have a hard time with that. So Dallas, again, they've got some, Cam Hayward in the middle. That's going to be a matchup between him and Tyler Smith. That is going to be a war inside, because Hayward it's these next to the Browns, and here are these two teams playing the same division. The Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens. In this division to survive, you have to have defensive linemen big defensive linemen that can play. And Hayward can play. And it's these linemen, it's extend, swim, extend, swim. It's move, it's a lot of, they're going to control you, and then they're going to get rid of you. I mean, they will get rid of you to where guys are on the ground, get rid of you type of blocks. So, keep an eye on how that goes. But the where you're going to get Cam Hayward playing is a lot over Tyler Smith in this game.
Oh,
Cam can get pressure inside. But what does Tyler Smith do? Tyler Smith doesn't give up pressures. So there's some matchups that you can absolutely to win inside. I don't think Patrick Queen, their linebacker's playing particularly well for them right now. He
looks lost.
Kind of crazy.
Maybe he needed Roquan. Maybe that was it. He was good next to Roquan, and now that it's his show, it's like, I don't know.
It's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past from Patrick Queen, but this is a very aggressive defense, and the way that you could take advantage of them is send them one way. And I'm not talking about a bunch of boots and waggles and stuff, which the Cowboys will probably do in this game.
A boot and a waggle and a throw to the guy in the flats?
Yeah, that's kind of where we play football sometimes. But you can take advantage of when they give up explosive plays, it's usually somebody taking a chance. It's usually the corner taking a chance. It's the Chargers game. They got him on my guy Porter to jump a route. Ball went up the sidelines. I mean, he jumped the flat thinking that he was going to, that was the throw was going to be that Herbert was going to throw in the flat. He jumped it, and then the ball went over the top, and they had no chance. But Patrick Queen jumping a gap ball coming around this way. So, there's possibilities that Steeler teams in the past have been very, very scary to play. They've got scary players, but there's some struggling on their offense right now. And there's some things defensively that it's not like playing I always say the 85 Bears. That's the benchmark. 85 Bears. How about the 2000 Ravens? It's not like playing those guys. They've got good players, but you've got some matchups that should favor you.
I'd like to shout out to Terry in the chat who's doing the Lord's work. He said 198 people watching. Looks like 205 now. Why not click the like button, people? Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe if you're here. Yeah. We, in theory, are going to be here every Monday and Thursday right now.
How about that? Yeah, how about that? We get to do a little preview of the game, and then we get to do a little film work on the Monday. So actually, the very first look at film you might have will be Monday morning at 9 a.m. How about that?
We love that. We love that. And I also want to tell you guys, because this is just the way it works, it's algorithm based. Send in the chat the final score of this game. Send in the chat which Cowboys going to score a touchdown. Send in the chat your favorite animal emoji or fruit emoji. I like the grape. Whatever. Because it's an algorithm thing. Leave a comment if you're watching this later.
When did you learn about all these algorithm things and stuff like that? You were just kind of a golfer, ball scout guy for a while, radio guy. Now you're like an algorithm guy. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Jeff. I got to learn about algorithms too.
Yeah, I'll teach you about the algorithms. I'll take everything that I'm getting and I'll give it right to you. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
You've given to me, I will give to you.
But as you mentioned, looking forward to being with you every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Yes.
Damn right. So you mentioned Joey Porter Jr., and I thought as a rookie he was okay, and as a draft prospect, I really liked him. And the stuff I've seen from him this year, it looks not good. The
struggle.
the secondary of the Steelers, like, yes, Justin Fields will run. They want to run the ball, but their offense just not very good. Run defense, great. Pass rush, great. Coverage, not so good. Michael Pittman ate up Porter last week. Josh Downs was eating as well, and you lost to Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
So like I'm doing maybe all of these things to just kind of build myself some optimism. And you mentioned Cowboys, you're going to have to protect. You're going to have to make those plays. But boy, it would be a good week to look at the weakness of this defense. And we've been asking a lot of you all year, but number 4, number 88, maybe 87.
Head coach. Anybody?
Another fun stat. Hold on. Yeah. If you like being mad at the head coach, here's another fun nerd stat for you. The Cowboys offense has an average formation width of 27.5 yards this season, the widest in the NFL, because teams have started doing like you go trips bunch and you'll condense formation and try to create angles and space and matchups. And the Cowboys just go line up like you did in 1971, like, all right, one way out there, one way out there. And they just go play football and like, yeah, it's like Garrett's still here. Like, just beat your man. What are you talking about? But yeah, the opportunities in the passing game. Are you seeing that as the thing that the Cowboys hopefully can take advantage of?
Joey Porter looks like a different player out there. Last year, man, he was a tight window demon. When you play this team, when they play zone, and they play a lot of it. The last several weeks they've played. Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator. We've seen some really aggressive defensive coordinators as far as the blitzing stuff. He's not interested in blitzing you. He wants to rush 4. Matter of fact, this is a team, Jeff, that when they rush more than 4, they get less pressures.
Did you know that the Cowboys want you to pressure? At least
that's what they do. The thing about it, when they play zone coverage, though, they give you a lot of space. They give you a lot of space. They let you catch the ball in front of them, and then they rally and tackle. They try to rally and tackle. But the thing with Porter, he's the one guy that if he does play man coverage, he can make it difficult on you, because he is going to be very handsy. He's going to stay in position, but his stuff on the off coverage stuff, I think, has been really, really poor. And there's been a couple of times in the goal line. Matter of fact, the Colts got him. And you mentioned Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco subbing for Richardson the other day. They're down on the goal line and they're playing a spacing kind of a zone defense. And the ball goes, Flacco takes it, throws it quickly in the flat area between the corner and the linebacker. And Patrick Queen, after the play, looks at Porter like, what the hell are you doing, bro? We got a guy outside of you. You're the inside player, and I've got this spot.
Did Porter look back at him and be like, you've sucked this year too?
Porter looked at him like, yeah, we were a lot better defensively when you were in Baltimore. But no, he probably didn't say that. But that's kind of where they're at right now. When they do give up plays, it's been some gambling, it's been some chance taking. But Porter, like last year, I felt like a much better cover man. But if they play a lot of zone defense against you and give Dallas access and routes, Tolbert and Ferguson and those guys, give them some access and some routes, CeeDee Lamb, they'll do something, Jeff, too, that I noticed defensively. They will, if you motion, they will bump the coverage. And I mean, they will bump it. And so you can maybe work it to where you get their worst defenders on you in the secondary,
so that you can run a curl on them. Yeah.
You would never think about running any type of combination route or a pick route or something like that.
We have one combination route: outside slant, inside shoot. We got one combination. Brandon's in the super chat. Big game for Hunter Lipke this week.
How about that?
Lipke's about to become the new Jeff Heath. He's going to
be.
Let
me ask you this:
cult hero.
Hunter Lipke, your 4th best offensive player, and include offensive linemen if you want in this thing.
Okay, so Lamb, Prescott, Tyler Smith. Lamb, Prescott, Tyler Smith. Are you trying to put Lipke right there?
Well,
you can't put him in front of Ferg.
Well, but I'm just saying though, if through 4 games this year,
he's been good.
Yeah,
he's like my own little fake Taysom Hill. Where like
Yeah.
I don't think Hunter Lipke is a good enough running back that you would want him to be your starting running back. I don't
Why do
think
I feel like if I hand the ball to him 12 times, I'll get 40, 50 something yards out of him?
you might. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm
I
like,
just kind of
okay.
feel like that, like they don't block dudes. They don't block dudes on fourth down. They decide they don't want to block Thibodeau on the edge, and then he just kind of keeps his balance, doesn't get tripped, kind of gets the first down, always falling forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. He's fun. And I think it's fun that because they don't have any tight ends other than Ferguson that you would ever want on an NFL football field,
They
that Lipke
can't get
gets to kind of be tight end too and move around and have a bunch of fun.
They can't get Stevens active. They cannot get Stevens active on that team.
He's hurt?
He's not hurt, man. He's been a healthy scratch the last 3 weeks.
Because he can't block a lick?
I don't know, man. It just seems like to me. But this week, I know a lot of people are asking about Ryan Flournoy.
Yeah, it's Flournoy time. Oh, yeah, Brandon Cooks is going to be out. And I got to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me a bit.
Well, we'll see.
I think Cooks
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No. You think
I think Cooks is washed. And it would make sense that his knee's been hurting.
Yeah.
Because he's always been kind of a straight line player, right? Like kind of a rigid, straight liney.
Sure.
But now it doesn't look like he can run away from anybody. On top of that, and you have a small catch radius, and you have a coach that likes to call curl routes, and all of it doesn't work for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, it's funny how everywhere else he's been kind of a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, and I wonder if he had some more juice then.
Yeah, well, the knee thing. I mean, they don't want to talk much about what happened this past week.
He got some weird injections that jacked up his knee.
Don't want to talk about it very much.
Allegedly,
if they would have said he just said he was going to New Orleans for some voodoo treatment, I would have probably understood. Yeah,
going to Germany, hang out.
Germany, yeah. These players are like, I don't trust you. And Dallas got one of the best doctors in the league, man. Like other teams' guys come to Dr. Cooper to get surgeries and stuff.
Oh, that's why they wouldn't want to talk about it, because he went to someone else and something got jacked up, and it was like, well, come on home and let's see if we can fix it.
Yeah, let Dr. Cooper fix you now, so you'll be ready in a week.
Oh, they're still going to trade him now. Bad teammate. They're going to Amari Cooper him. Although I don't know if anybody would trade for Brandon Cooks. Yeah. I'd like to see Flournoy, and part of that is just that you have CD and that's it. And so I'm open to the idea that I'd like to see pretty much anything. Yeah. But I'd like to see Flournoy on the field.
Well, the thing about Flournoy is because the problem I have is when you play Tolbert seems to not be able to block very well.
Yeah, he's kind of
and so if you're asking, this goes back to coaching. Are you putting players in position to have their best success? I mean, it's kind of like asking Guyton to be single block for 90% of his snaps. You're probably going to get a couple of holdings in those games. Yeah. Or it's 3rd and 1 and you decide to throw the ball and then he gets a holding call on him, instead of just running the ball and getting a first down and kind of keeping the clock moving and the chains moving. But no, you want to throw the ball, and then now your left tackle gets a holding call, unnecessarily because you decided you wanted to be cute,
Yeah. Are they going to trade for Devontae Adams or what?
Okay, this, me. I used to live in that building.
Uh-huh.
And I asked a guy, a high-ranking official, pretty high-ranking official.
How high?
Very high. Very high.
Okay.
Very high. You know him. Very high guy.
All right.
I asked him. I said, hey, national media is talking about you trading for Adams. My man goes, it's news to me. Yeah. That's news to me.
People love to say Cowboys. And
you say Cowboys and you tag Cowboys.
Yeah.
You're going to get like the clicks, and then you and I and others when you go on your podcast. By the way, you guys do a nice job on your podcast.
Thank you. You do a nice job on your show. All the shows you're on also.
I try my best. We all do. And then we come together and have shows too. But yeah, this was one of those where the guy basically said, man, this is news to me. But yeah, throw the Cowboys name in there, stirs everybody up, and then you have to answer the question. I have to answer the question, and and everybody's like, well, damn, Jerry not doing it, and I'm like, okay, I think this next several weeks, Jeff, I know we're running out of time here.
Yeah. You're good.
But I know the next several weeks, You lose 3 straight games.
Oh,
You
we're
lose
going to be
those-
drafting, baby.
You lose 3 straight games. You're 2-5. You're not trading for anybody. You're not. You're
Yeah.
just. You're going to go into survival mode. The coaches are going to start closing the door on their offices at night, and they're going to be calling their buddies to see what's going on around the league and stuff like that. It's going to be. It's going to be there a lot of lives. Go 2-1. Hey man, there we go. 3-0. Well, how did you do that? Go 0-3. There's going to be a lot of lives that get changed after the San Francisco game, if that's the case.
I like that. Just talking about the Devontae Adams thing. I'm sure you know him because he was in Green Bay. Andrew Brandt.
Yeah.
I follow on Twitter. He was like,
Andrew's
this is always fun when you see like this team. He's like, his agents used to call me and be like, can I say that the Packers are interested? And he was like, use us to drive up the price for someone else? Sure. We're super interested. It's just a stupid game that people play in the media.
Well, that's, but the one thing the Cowboys do have a history of is trading for a wide receiver.
They will trade for a receiver.
You go all the way back, Joey Galloway, go back to Roy Williams, go back. I mean, there's a history there of trading for wide receivers. Sure.
All right,
is.
Bryan will be on 105.3 The Fan 2 to 7 today, as he is Monday through Friday. I'll be on the DLLS Cowboys show, which
give it a listen. Yeah,
check out everywhere, and we're gonna party here every Monday and Thursday. All right, thank you, Bryan. You're the best. You're here,
Jeff. I'll see you Monday with a report on the Steelers game. We'll have the film broken down for you guys. But thanks for having me on as always, brother. Look forward to working with you in the future.
Yes. Remember, you have no idea what